Hello and welcome to my demo for the Archival Lab remix project called Dead Shrimp Can Tell Us Who You Vote For. Now the idea behind this project is to demonstrate how geology shapes human history and how maps showing separate and unique data sets can tell the same story. Now, this project was inspired by the U.S. Geological Survey's Map View, which is an interactive map that combines over 25,000 geological maps of the United States to create a highly detailed map of the geology and lithography of America. Now, the project I'm proposing is similar, but it would include maps displaying demographic, ethnographic, and political data in addition to geological maps to demonstrate how the land we live on can shape our history and our politics. And the maps used in this demo were collected from the U.S. Geological Survey's public map database, the Library of Congress, and the Boston Public Library. Now, this first map that we see here is a screenshot of map view. Now, again, the project I'm proposing is similar to this one, except it would include sociopolitical data in addition to the geological data. And users would be able to overlay different data sets or maps on top of each other to find interesting correlations between them. So in this case, what happens when we layer a map of the ancient Cretaceous shoreline on top of the modern US? All right, now this is a map of the Cretaceous North America from about 80 to 65 million years ago. And during this time, much of the modern US was underwater. And you can see that it creates a crescent-shaped shoreline that runs through what is modern day Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Now, what happens if we add a map from the 1860 census on top of these two maps? Now, the 1860 census map is added to the layers now, and it shows the distribution of slaves in the southern United States. And you can see that the counties that have the densest slave population mirror the ancient Cretaceous shoreline. Now, the reason for that is because just like today in the ancient Cretaceous, the ocean and the coastal waters were inhabited by shrimp and other small crustaceans and microscopic zooplankton, and when they died, their bodies were deposited on the shore and on the ocean floor en masse, and the process of fossilization turned their bodies into chalk. And chalk contains the nutrients necessary to create very fertile soil that it turns out is perfect for growing crops like cotton. Um, so, in the southern United States, the cotton plantations flourished along this ancient shoreline, and as a result, so did the population of slaves from Africa. Um, Now, what's really interesting is if we add an electoral map from the 2008 presidential election that's county by county, you'll see that there's that similar sickle shape of blue counties in the otherwise deep red south. And the reason that crescent-shaped blue swath of counties is there is because after the Civil War, when the slaves were emancipated, many of them chose to remain where they had lived as enslaved people, and they worked there and raised many successive generations there, and the descendants of those slaves still live and work there to this day. And because African Americans tend to vote Democratic, they lean toward the Democratic Party, that has created a solid crescent-shaped voting bloc for the Democrats that mirrors the ancient Cretaceous shoreline. And it's all because of the fertile soil created by the bodies of dead shrimp and dead crustaceans and zooplankton that lived millions upon millions of years ago. Now, I'm just using this localized phenomena as an example of what I believe this project can do. I believe that users would be able to discover similarly weird and interesting correlations between maps of other areas that show different data sets and use them to learn more about how our lives are shaped by natural, geological, and geographical phenomena in ways that we might not expect.